I'm Alexandra Kasenik-Deveren. I'm a consultant, California-based, olive oil from dirt to dinner. I do all aspects of olive oil, so that's me, and also the director of Extra Virgin Alliance. So you have the bios, you can read up on us. So I'm just going to start. First off, I'd like to thank the sponsors for this incredible opportunity, and this has been such an interesting event, and it's just great to be here. So I guess, why are we here? So we've been looking at the Mediterranean diet from a multi-dimensional perspective, and one of the things, I'm not going to talk much about all the benefits of the Mediterranean diet. I think that's been the topic of so much of our discussion. What we're going to look at here is that intersection of health and flavor. So I was thinking a lot about dietary choices, because what makes people choose the food they choose? If people were driven by health concerns, I don't think we would be here. Obviously, dietary choices, what people eat, are driven by a lot of things, and health may be one of them, but it is not the strongest driver. So now I think people are starting to look at the benefits or the costs to the planet, and this is particularly true of young people. So this is an important dietary driver, and I think it's only going to become more so. Availability, that's one we're not going to be able to address, but I was glad that it came up in one of the previous sessions, that food insecurity in the United States, one of the richest countries in the world, a lot of people have no access to fresh food. So a Mediterranean diet for them is just a dream. So that's a big social issue. That's a whole other conference. And convenience. I think that's a really, really big driver. People are time poor. So they're eating out more often, and they are looking for fast ways to nourish themselves. And I use nourish, I think, in quotes. But probably the number one thing is that, oh, I like the way it tastes. So I think the product, the food that answers all of these things, except that availability issue, which we agree we're leaving for another day, is olive oil. It's healthy for the person, it's healthy for the planet. It makes cooking easier. I think Chef Loy is going to talk quite a bit about that. Fast, simple food. And the other thing is that olive oil makes healthy food delicious. And there's been a few allusions to that. And we're gonna explore that. We're gonna be playing around with the flavor dynamics of olive oil and different foods. So obviously the value of olive oil as a healthy monounsaturated fat has been accepted nutrition fact for decades. And there's also this growing body of research that's pointing to phytochemicals as an important reason why extra virgin olive oil is so good. And so we're going to look at minor components a little bit as part of this flavor discussion. Specifically, we're going to look at phenolic compounds, and also known as polyphenols, but that is probably phenolic compounds is a more accurate way to describe them. It's a very diverse group of chemicals with a diverse set of health benefits. We are only beginning to understand what individual phenolics are doing in our health and so forth, and we're just at the beginning of just a whole world of discovery there. The phenolic compounds also have impacts on flavor. They are bitter, some of them are peppery or pungent, some of them are astringent. So those also are part of the picture. And the perception of phenolics and those bitter, pungent compounds has a big effect on how a diner, an eater, a consumer is going to experience in olive oil. So that's a lot of what we're doing today. We'll be tasting 4 premium extra virgin olive oils and different intensities. And then you get to play with your food. We'll be bringing food out, and then we'll start experimenting with different pairings and talking about the effects. So first, I'm going to bring up Rosa Lamuela, who's a full professor of nutrition and bromatology, researcher at the National Institute of Nutrition and Food Safety, University of Barcelona, and Sabor in Barcelona. And Rosa?
Well, what our group has focused, we have also participated in the Predimed that has been mentioned this morning. Or we have focused it what happens if we cook with extra virgin olive oil versus olive oil. And the main difference that now was pointed out is the phenolics. Extra virgin olive oil is much richer in phenolics than regular oil, because regular oil, most of it passes through a refination, through a processing, that they lose these phenolic compounds. So what we are doing now, we have several papers about that, but we are doing a project in collaboration with the Culinary Institute of America, UC Davis, also IRTA, that is an agronomic institute in Spain, and ourselves. And what is our main aim of this project? Our main aim is that because there is the philosophy, and many scientists believe that extra virgin olive oil is good for dressing, but not for cooking. So what we want to give is the message that extra virgin olive oil is really the best for cooking. And for that, what we did is we are in the first step of this project that have several steps. It has an intervention trial. It has a computational also science, but I will only present some of it. What we did is we used both oils. That the main difference was these phenolics, and what happens when you cook with them. When we cook with them, usually phenolics, well, we analyze these compounds through a complicated, well, it's an instrument that is called HPLC with an omics. We use omics to analyze these oils. And what we observe is that we can clearly differentiate when we cook these oils, if you have used extra virgin olive oil, I don't know if the pointer is here. Yes, extra virgin olive oil versus regular oil. There is a big difference. Why? Because extra virgin olive oil has more phenolics and is protected against oxidation. And moreover, depending on the cooking process that you use, here, for example, we have different ways of cooking. And whenever you use more heat and more air, you are destroying these antioxidants. So the best way is to cook slow and at low temperatures. This is the best way to maintain the oil and to maintain their properties. And when we look at the regular oil, the one that is not extra virgin, what happens? What happens is that you get much more deterioration. You get much more compounds coming from this cooking process. So it's very important to know what is happening during this process, and to try to give message to all the society, the scientific society, but also to all the population, that really extra virgin olive oil is much more protected against any aggressive thing that you can do while you are cooking. No? So it's the best way to use extra virgin olive oil. This is my research group. That I have a big research group with many PhD students from all the world, from Italy, Russia, Egypt, from all the world. And we are trying to be very active also in media, Because nowadays I think that science has to arrive to all the public, and we have to give message to all the public. So what we try is for example, today, the things that we are going to do, we will publish in our page media that the people knows about science, but graded or the things that science say, that it's not somebody that is talking about science but doesn't know too much about science. Well, with that I would finish. And I would like to thank all the
time for this. Yeah. Old enough now. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Professor. And today I'd like to talk about the role of extra virgin olive oil in professional cooking, with a particular focus on the Greek culinary tradition, how we use it, why we use it, and what makes it technically and culturally significant in our kitchens. In Greek gastronomy, olive oil is not considered a secondary ingredient or a finishing touch on a dish. It is the foundation of cooking, both in domestic and professional contexts. Greece is one of the world's leading producers of extra virgin olive oil, so we can easily understand why people had that opportunity to use all that quantity of olive oil in order to cook. It's amazing if someone measures the quantity that we use when we cook. Sometimes people find it scary, actually. One of the most characteristic examples of Greek approach is the category of dishes known as ladera, literally meaning oily foods. These are vegetable or legumes-based preparations cooked slowly in a large quantity of extra virgin olive oil, often with tomato, onions, herbs, and very little or some protein. Technically, the process is closer to slow confit or gentle braising, but with olive oil as the main oil, rather than butter or any other vegetable or animal fat. The ratio of olive oil to raw vegetables can be as high as 1 part oil to 2 parts solids, a level rarely found in other cuisines. This method serves several professional purposes. It allows uniform heat distribution without aggressive frying. It promotes natural caramelization and the development of umami compounds through slow cooking. It ensures preservation. These dishes can often be served at room temperature and remain stable for hours. In fine dining, this technique has been successfully adapted in modern tasting menus where olive oil replaces butter in vegetable reductions or sauces to deliver depth of flavor with cleaner texture and higher digestibility. Another important yet often misunderstood aspect of Greek cooking is frying, as you already said, in extra virgin olive oil. Some people say it's impossible to take a very expensive, a good quality extra virgin olive oil and put it in a pan and start frying things. But from my perspective, the flavor that you can take, it's unique. That's the one thing. And the other thing is that when I say fry, I don't mean burn. We fry potatoes, for example, which is the most common and the food that we all love to taste. We fry them for a long time. So it's not an aggressive frying. It's a slow frying in a lower temperature than the one that we use when we have the frying machine. So that gives a wonderful result. And another thing is that the olive oil that we use in order to fry can be used again. I mean, it's not just for one. If we use that temperature, from my perspective, because I have more care about the flavor, you can fry one more time in the same olive oil, maybe two, adding a small quantity of fresh olive oil, but that's all. Then you cannot continue that way. I don't know if I'm saying things correct. Thank you. Because it's more an experience to me. It's not a scientific thesis, okay? So, in contemporary gastronomy, olive oil performs multiple roles beyond cooking. As a flavor enhancer, it provides aromatic complexity ranging from fruity to peppery notes. As a structural element, it stabilizes emulsions and adds body to sauces, and as a nutritional component, it contributes to the balance of unsaturated fats in a dish, which is also important. The professional chef must therefore treat olive oil not as a generic ingredient, but as a controlled variable. Different cultivars, for example, Koroneiki, Manaki, Athinolia, Mavrolia, are some. Mavrolia is going to be here with us today to the tasting, have distinct sensory profiles that can be matched with specific foods and cooking methods. And that's something that we can see today, because that's what we intend to do with Alexandra, to show what happens if you have something prepared with extra virgin olive oil. I mean, we cook things with olive oil. How it is to cook without any oil. I just don't put in the discussion any other oil. And then we can see what happens if we add some extra virgin olive oil on the cooked olive oil food and the food that we didn't add anything during the cooking. So we are not talking about the tasting of raw salads adding olive oil seasoning. We are talking about cooking with olive oil and adding fresh olive oil on the top of the cooking preparations. That's what we'll do. And that's why I don't intend to stall more time, and we want to proceed to our tasting. Huh? Is that right? Thank you very much.
I have to say something in Greek, right? I'm very Greek. You know, they say that my Greek blood, no, it's my Greek olive oil. When you cut my veins, you'll come olive oil. So I have to tell you 2-3 things. Thank you very much, Alexandra. You said so many things about me. I don't know how I can take it from there. I was not a chef. I started as a farm girl, because I grew up in a small village in Greece called Thermo. And as I said, you know, with the Culinary Institute, they said, when did you had your first contact with olive oil? I said, when I was a baby, because we didn't have a nanny, you know, and my parents, they left me over there, you know, for the roots of the olive tree. So that's my first thing. After that, fast forward, I had my grandfather who taught me everything and a lot of remedies. And that's what I'm doing actually in the new Loy method that we're doing for the cooking. Then I became a lobbyist, completely different person that you see here. Many of you here, you know, you know companies that I brought in Greece, Nokia, Filmnet, all this. I changed my life. I was like a Christmas tree lady, diamonds, all this. One poem of Kavafis made me say, like, don't make your life miserable, you know, take it here and there. So I got all the invitations down, already gone. Okay, so everything became Homes for Children, and that's what I'm doing. Olive oil, Greek cooking, and children are my passion. So why I cook different? I don't cook with olive oil. in the beginning. I don't burn the olive oil. Okay? I put everything in the beginning if I would make something, you know, with onions, whatever it is. Very hot pan, super hot. Put anything you want in there. You're not going to burn it. You will caramelize it. Just add a bit of salt. And then you can add the rest because you need the olive oil and all the ingredients that you want to cook all together, because when you add that olive oil, your food, it's better, right? And nutritious. We have to ask Rosa. Rosa, you know something? You were the one who changed my mind. Yes, yes, yes. Remember? We talked actually in the restaurant in New York, and you told me about, don't burn the olive oil, huh? I said, no, I don't burn the olive oil. I don't. So, and then I changed. No frying. And two things. No frying, no butter. It's in my heart, in my brain, everything. So, anyway, and I became a chef. The Chef's Club of Greece made me a chef. I had a show, you know, here in Greece, and then fast forward, okay, I went to the States, and I have one of the best shows. Every year we get the best awards, and my favorite award is the Telly Award, that is out of 6 continents, 50 countries, 13,000 entries. So that's what it says over there. Olive oil, cooking with olive oil is the best. And if you want a recipe, you know, for potatoes, you know, French fries, do you want any recipe that you can make it without frying? Anyone wants this recipe? No? You know, oh, you know, you like, okay. So, cut the potatoes the way that we cut it, okay, for frying. Put it in a bowl with very cold water, leave them for 1 hour. And then take them out, pat them dry, parchment paper, into the oven and the pan, drizzle with olive oil, salt and pepper, nothing else. And it's the best French fries that you ever had in your life. Try it. So you don't get the calories, even that I don't believe in calories. I believe only in nutrition, okay? I don't care about that. Even that I wrote the Greek diet, that I said that now I have to change that. And that's why we made the Loy method, which I cannot explain now because we don't have time, right, Alexandra? But whoever wants, you can have my email address, my phone number, and you can call me, and you can communicate with me, and we can discuss. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
And now for the tasting portion. So the idea here is we're going to taste these 4 oils by themselves with the, you know, standard olive oil tasting method, which if you, who here has never been through the olive oil tasting method just straight up in a cup? Okay. So I will briefly talk you through it. The first oil we're going to try is it's the 3rd one from the left, the Mavrolia. So these are very generous pours of oil. It's a bit more than we would normally put in the cup. So be careful not to get too enthusiastic during the swirling process because you run the risk of ending up covered in oil. For those of you who haven't done this before, put the cup in your palm, and the idea is to bring the temperature of the oil up. Unlike wine tasting, where one quick swirl and the headspace is full of volatiles, olive oil hangs on to its aromas a bit more, so we warm it and we swirl to increase surface area to coax out those volatiles, and that's also why it has a lid. So leave the lid on until until it's time to have a sniff. So you're warming it, you're swirling it, twirling it, basically bringing the aromas into the headspace of the glass, and then you're going to have a sniff. The aromas in this oil are primarily ripe. We chose this as an example of a riper fruit character. So you have mostly ripe notes, and you'll notice the difference as we go through these other oils. Now, take a sip, and when you have it in your mouth, suck a little bit of air through it, and then close your mouth and breathe out through your nose. That's really important. You want to get the maximum of the retronasal perception. A lot of what we taste and smell, like what we smell really, but we perceive it as flavor because it's taste and smell, is coming through the back of your nose. It has a surprising amount of bitterness and pungency for something that has such a ripe fruit character to it. Dionysus is not in here, is he? No. He was gonna, I don't know this variety. Is anyone here a grower of Mavrolia who can tell us a bit more about the cultivar? It is very local. This is why, another reason why we selected it. Do you know? Okay. There.
There are some trees that have survived after Ibrahim. Ibrahim was a Turk that burned most of the trees. So most of the trees are more than 500 years old. It is called Mavrolia, which means black olive, because it turns very quickly from yellow color to black. And it matures very quickly. Usually matures at the end of September and at the beginning of October. It is very close to Nestor Palace, and this area, it's very, very local. Even in Messinia, it's not spread in all Messinia, but near Pylos, Horas, and there are many trees that have survived during all those days. I'm not going to talk about the tasting character because...
But thank you. And actually, this is something that wasn't specifically mentioned during our earlier discussions of biodiversity and so on. But one of the things that is concerning in the world of olive oil is that many of these local varieties are being lost. They are not necessarily, first off, the trees are older. They are not necessarily as productive as some other varieties, so you're not getting as much oil and so on. But in terms of biodiversity and adaptation to climate change, they are absolutely crucial. When you have a cultivar that has been living here with these trees were not being taken care of, most of them, that have survived for centuries. These varieties that are local and now considered, you know, they're heritage cultivars. We need to guard them. We need to add value. Making olive oil and naming the cultivar and naming the region and telling the story is a really, really important activity right now. And I would encourage anyone who has older trees in their area to look at a way of adding value to those trees. Okay, so Manolis reminded me, don't drink all of your oil. Don't do oil shots. We want to hang on to some of it because you're going to use it with your food. So the next one up is the Koroneki. So, ripe or green dominant in the nose? Green. I heard somebody say green. Yeah, it's got a lot of green character. For me, the first thing that I got was green banana. It is very characteristic of this cultivar when it's green, and that's all these fresh green notes in the nose. One thing I wanted to mention is that all of these oils, this is a little bit early for the new harvest, so all of these oils are from last year. So more bitter, more pungent than the previous oil. What, less bitter? What do you think? More or less? Less? Yeah, it is actually, which is surprising because in the nose you get these green notes which make you expect a more bitter profile, but in fact we got more bitterness and pungency out of the previous oil. For me, I get considerable pungency, but the bitterness is very, very gentle. So, and in the mouth, I'm getting more of those ripe notes, some floral hints, things that I associate with riper flavors. As an oil ages, the green notes generally decline, and so even though the ripe notes haven't actually increased, they become more obvious, and so I get a little bit more of the sort of floral, ripe, tropical kind of notes in the mouth, as well as herbs, leaves, kind of nice, fresh, green things. Any comments from any of you anybody on the oils? So, okay, the main idea here is to notice how much you perceive different characteristics when you taste it by itself and then when we get to the food. So next is the very first one on the left, which is an arbequina. So the brand, Manolis, what was the name of the brand on the Mavoria? The brand name? No, the one before. No. The Mavroya.
They call it, it has the name of the cooperative, Nileas.
Nileas, okay. And then our Koroneki is the Grand Cru from Terra Creta. So we have one from here, one from Crete. And then our next oil is from Spain. So, green, ripe, or both? So no one wants to commit. So in the nose, I get mostly green, but then in the mouth, I'm getting this lovely sort of sweet almond, which is a kind of a riper characteristic. One of the things I would point out that's different about this one is the previous green notes were more leafy, more herbaceous. This one has a kind of more of a grassy quality to it, I think. You get more of a grassy green. Bitter, not much, but pronounced pungency, yes? Okay, so oleocanthal is the phenolic that we're getting that is burning in the throat. Which is called pungency officially. And that is an anti-inflammatory, very beneficial. So that would indicate that this has probably pretty substantial oleocanthal content to it. Anytime you're perceiving bitterness and pungency, that's the presence of phenolics. So the idea that you have to have an oil that is almost unbearably bitter in order to get, you know, benefit of the phenolics, that's not true. You have oils, all extra virgin olive oil has these compounds, and we don't actually know that more is always better. So we should look for oils that we enjoy with our food and eat them every day at every meal. And that's the beneficial way to approach this. Okay, and the final one, and so that was Arbequina from the Jaén region, that's Castilla y Canena. And this final one is an Hoja Blanca, also from Spain. Tomato leaf, anybody? Tomato leaf, tomato, right? It's like, I grow tomatoes, and when you're tying the vines in the summer and it's warm and you bruise the leaves, that's what this aroma reminds me of. Again, it's a leafy green more than a grassy green. Again, pretty substantial pepper, right? And one of the things that, and also this one's a little hot in the mouth. So there are some, and I don't actually know which of the phenolics or which combination of phenolics is responsible for that. But this is something that we didn't used to find that, not until about maybe 10, 12 years ago, that once in a while we started to get this kind of hot tingle tongue phenolic thing going on. And I suspect that is because of processing technology. I think that previously the temperatures, the exposure to oxygen and so forth, whatever that was probably getting broken down during the process. And now, as our processing technology is better, we're much more controlled in the atmosphere, in the processing, in the malaxers and so on. I think that's, and also lower temperatures, I think that's why now these tongue-tingly, hot perceptions are something that I'm finding more often in really high-quality oils. So that's Hoja Blanca, that is from Almazara del Sbetica, which is Cordoba area of southern Spain. So there we go. So Manolis, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the food, because you're going to be the, do you want to come up here and do that, or do you want to do it sitting there? And he's going to talk you through what we've got, and we have some pairings sort of figured out, so, yeah. Okay.
You can stay with me.
Oh.
So, yeah, and after the tasting now, you can see that you have in front of you double of pairs of the same preparations. So, in 2 cups, you have lentils soup. The one is cooked with extra virgin olive oil. The one is like the monks of Agion Oros eat it without any oil. The other thing is eggs with tomato. We call it here in Peloponnese kayana. It's very simple, just eggs, tomato, salt, pepper, a very small quantity of oregano. The one is cooked with oil, and the other one without. The third preparation is potato puree, which is very common in this kind of tastings because you can easily understand a lot about olive oil. So the one is cooked with olive oil, and the other one is just with water and milk. Milk is in both preparations. So the only thing that changes is the olive oil. And the last one is some greens. It's fresh greens with some aromatics inside. The one is cooked with olive oil, the other just with water. A little bit water, just to cook them a little bit. So, the first challenge is to find which olive oil from those that you tasted I put in each different preparation. Because what I did, and I didn't that alone, I did it with Alexandra, but I first did it alone, and hopefully Alexandra agreed with me. I made my tasting of those 4 olive oils, the same that you have, and then I started thinking which olive oil would be better with the preparations that you have there. So, olive oil drive me to choose the preparation that, in my perspective, was better. So, it's a different one in its preparation. We can play for hours. For example, I could have used those 4 olive oils and give you 4 cooked versions with a different olive oil to see the difference, because there is a difference. It's not big, especially when we're talking about cooking with olive oil, but there is a difference. Yes? It was cooked, because everywhere. Because for me, the important thing here is to show that cooking with olive oil is very important. It's not just taking the olive oil and putting on the top of the dish. It's not about that. It is about a tradition that we have in this country, and not only in this country, in Mediterranean, to cook with olive oil. So it is important to understand that perspective. It's not only seasoning with olive oil. For me, it's important also. It's very nice. But it's not the same. Because you'll see that you can season, and we'll do that, your cookings without the oil. And then you can see how it is seasoning something which is cooked with olive oil and without having any oil during the process of cooking. Yes, please.
So if we start them on, if you go to the potato puree, can you tell by looking at it which one has the olive oil and which one does not?
Yeah, you can see it,
You
I
can
think.
see, okay. So taste the potato puree without olive oil first. Just taste the plain one.
Yeah,
right?
let's start with that. So you can taste the potato puree without the olive oil. So the thing is that you don't eat something which is bad. Eh? It's like the army puree. It's that bad. And then you can try the puree that is cooked with olive oil. Because when I say cooked, I put the olive oil in the puree after I mixed it with the milk, and I left some time on the fire to be, because I wanted the olive oil to be cooked, not to be fresh. So, can you see the difference between those two preparations? Because you have exactly the same quantity of salt, pepper, milk. It's nothing different, just the adding of extra virgin olive oil. Texture is one thing which is really interesting. And when I was serving the 2 purees in the plate, it was very easy for me to serve the puree with the olive oil, and the other one was like a stone. I should take again and put inside some water to break it and put it back to the plate. So the olive oil gave a completely different texture of that puree.
So which olive oil is it in the potatoes?
Huh.
Anybody want to try and guess that one?
Koroneki is one. Mavrolia is another. Manoli, μαυρολιά λες εσύ? Όχι μαυρολιά. Μαρία, λες ότι είναι μαυρολιά εκεί. Οκ. Πάμε.
Η κορονέκη είναι,
Είναι κορονέικι. Είναι κορονέικι, ναι. Επίσης, προσπαθήστε να μην φάτε όλη την ποσότητα από αυτό που... Please try not to eat everything that you have in front of you.
Yeah.
It's important
Right.
in order to have the time to do the tasting. Because if you disappear in thing, then yeah. Just small quantities is enough. It's not... we are having a dinner after. So... Yeah, yeah. And now we are going to that preparation, and I want you to put some raw koroneiki on the top of the potato without the olive.
So, Maria, you had a comment.
Of course I have a comment. Koroneiki is one of the best. And it started actually, all right? That's why Manolis, he understood the koroneiki because it runs in his veins. So, okay, olive oil. I don't want to say more. Makes life taste better and healthier. And you know what my motto is? Metron ariston. Nothing in excess, except love, olive oil, and good deeds. That's all.
So after that tasting, the potato that was just potato and milk, and the adding of the olive oil. Vasilis, what is your comment? Do you find it more interesting with the olive oil on the top? Now it's not the army thing. It's much better. Okay. And now, it's very interesting. Angelos is eating that.
By mistake.
Angelo, you are eating the fakes.
By mistake, I told him try the lentils with olive oil, and I gave him the ones without olive oil.
These are your lentils.
Yeah, actually, we
you don't
shared
have
the
a
plate.
But wait,
Yeah.
don't mess me
Now
up.
he has the ones with the olive oil.
I think apart from the potatoes, everything tastes better with olive oil. I mean, really, the potatoes are awesome without olive oil.
Okay. So what is the difference if you put the olive oil on the cooked potato? Do you find the flavor? Because it was already tasty, wasn't it? So after putting some fresh olive oil on the potatoes that were cooked with the olive oil, what happens? It's more fruity, more alive. So in one case, you have something which is not very interesting. Putting some fresh extra virgin olive oil on the top makes it interesting. In the other case, you have something which is already very tasty because we had the olive oil inside, and then adding some fresh olive oil at the end of it, we double, in a way, the enjoyment and the power of the flavor. So what we can see here is that it's not only just putting raw olive oil on the top of dishes, but it's essential for taste to put olive oil during the cooking. And again, I'm not talking about burning the olive oil, because this is not the way. Yes. Okay.
And so one thing I would just, a logistical thing, is that if you take whatever it is and sort of divide it into little piles, the one with no oil on it, so that you can try it with the other oils after we go through everything. Stop yourself if you are tempted to just eat everything, because it's very interesting. We have it with the koroneiki, then try it with one of the other oils and see what you think.
Okay, the quantity, unfortunately, it's not too big, but because we were thinking about 50 people max, so
Yes,
or more, and
originally was,
we put smaller portions. But yeah, if you can do it, keeping some quantity in order to put other oils on the top, it's also difficult in one plate, I know. Okay, it's enough if we can make it with the 4 oils and get that pairing to begin with, and then we'll see if we can also have that process. So the second one, we can go now to the second Greek variety that we used, and huh? Yeah, but I didn't say the preparation. Okay, I won't go to that. I change it. So yeah. Yeah, it's not a quiz, actually. But please try try the greens. Uncooked and cooked.
You mean oiled and unoiled?
Oil and non-oil.
Right.
Let's call it that way. Oil.
Naked. Naked and oiled.
Naked and oiled. I like.
Yeah.
I like it naked.
And so the observation that when we were going through this on Friday, one of the first things that became obvious is that, like with the potatoes, that it was just a very short kind of sensation of potato, and that in the one that had been cooked with olive oil, it wasn't that we tasted the olive oil, it was that we tasted more potato-ness and for longer. And it was a really nice illustration of sort of that dynamic of having oil with the food. It just really brings alive a whole different set of flavors.
That's a very interesting observation, because one of the things that we try to do while we're cooking is to give some length to the flavor in the mouth. If something, it's like the wine, you know. If you have a wine and you taste it and you lose the flavor very fast, then the wine is not something special. But if that is keeping in the mouth and give us some time and length of time in the mouth, that makes it very interesting. And that is what happened with the two kinds of potato puree. Yeah. So, do you have any idea of what oil is on the greens? Or which one is cooked and not cooked first? Is it easy to understand? Yes.
I just want, it's like a flavor booster, a flavor catalyst.
Yeah,
we may say.
So do you find a difference between the two greens? Can you say which one has oil? Do you have the same feeling about the strong of flavor? It's obvious, isn't it? So, now we are going to do the same thing. We are going to put, and do you have any idea of which variety we have there? Which is that? Mavroglia, yeah. So why did I don't know if Mavroglia that you are tasting is exactly the same that we had, Alexandra. I'm not sure, I don't know. But anyway, for me it was a more fatty with a bigger body oil, and I found it more interesting with the greens. It was because greens always have that strong flavor. You know, you have a lot of aromatics, you have a lot of things happening there. So when you have something more fatty but less strong and round, I like it very much with the greens. I don't go with a very strong, bitter, expressive oil with the greens usually.
So, Rosa, cooking the greens with olive oil versus dressing the greens, please.
No, I was just going to do a mention of that is very interesting to cook or any green or any vegetable, tomato, with olive oil, because then there are antioxidants in tomato, tomorrow I will show the results, that are more, you absorb much more better and you get more time in the body and you get more anti-inflammatory properties. So it's not that olive oil is good, that is good, it's moreover that it increases the good things of vegetables, no? So you act synergistically, improving the health benefits of vegetables. So that is very good.
That's why Manoli de Cayana, I always make it not with fresh tomato only. I put the tomato paste, you know, the quicnos, you know, tomato paste, because we got the lycopene and the olive oil, the polyphenols, and then you're super healthy.
Yeah. Well, I like your option of Cayana, but what I also like is the freshness of the tomato in Cayana, because you have a completely different flavor when you use a tomato paste and a completely different flavor where you... You also add some paste, so you make it, and also tomato paste is a very strong taste maker. It's like an umami boost. So yeah, you can have that too.
Yeah, I would like to do a comment about tomato. That we have just published a paper that lycopene, that is it's very good for prevention prostate cancer, no? And one of the reviewers was from the States, and he told us that lycopene is associated with bad food, with junk food. Why? Because there they
have a lot of ketchup.
ketchup with potatoes and with hamburgers. And here, well, usually Mediterranean countries use tomato for good things, no?
I can't believe that I did something before you. I can't say, no, that was because my grandfather told me about the lycopene, you know. So, and that's how I start in the morning, a shot of olive oil. Lunchtime, I get a piece of bread with quinoa, the tomato paste, okay? Olive oil on the top. Maybe you add some cheese or anything, and it's a perfect snack and super healthy, right? Thank you, Rosa.
So did you prefer the greens dressed with raw oil, or did you actually like it with the cooked in there, or cooked with and dressed with? Any strong preference? You like it with extra olive oil.
Maria θέλει να πει.
Okay.
Cooked. Yeah. But what happens when you put, because we always have this salad in Crete, Maria, with Manolis, with the wild greens that are just boiled, and then on the top we just put the fresh olive oil. Here, both of the preparations are sauté, cooked in a way. So you have one with olive oil and the other one it's raw. You prefer it when it's cooked and you add some fresh on the top, or you find it completely different?
On the palate, you feel exactly the aroma of the vegetable and the the fruitiness of the olive oil. And the specialists give much more aftertaste. The aftertaste, you think that something springs in your palate. This is, for this reason, I prefer the cook with the olive oil.
With the olive oil. But I think in general, after we finish this tasting, this is a common thing that happens. It's always nice to be cooked with olive oil and adding some fresh at the top of it. It's like you give a double boost of taste to the preparation, which is the thing that we are actually talking about today from a perspective of taste, from my perspective, because we already heard what is happening concerning the health. We go to the Cayena? Yeah. So now we do the same with that. Or maybe we leave the egg at the end. It's better for the mouth. And let's go to the lentils. So one preparation is without any oil, the other the same thing. The other is cooked with oil. Actually, the one without any oil is something that the monks are eating during the time of fasting.
So, Manolis, can I add something?
Yes.
I'm here.
Yeah, sorry.
So sometimes we have seen in restaurants that they cook with defective olive oil. It can be virgin, not extra virgin. So it has a certain flavor because it's defective. And then they drizzle some drops of extra virgin. So as experts, we always understand that. And it's not nice because it gives a bad flavor to food. And then you cannot save it with some drops of extra virgin olive oil on top. So this is important to cook with extra virgin also.
Well, yeah, you know, I had a lot of thinking on that because, you know, one of the things that we are suffering of is the price sometimes of the olive oil. So when someone buys just a virgin olive oil, not an extra virgin, but a virgin olive oil, because it's very common in professional kitchens. During this summer, I visited a lot of hotels as a guest to cook with the chefs there. And it was the most common oil that they use not only to cook with, but they use that in the salads. also.
Well, the thing
Raw.
is, what is
And
the...
it was a problem for someone that can understand the difference, because it's easy to understand. It's like day to night. If you have a defective olive oil, or even if it's small and you put it on the salad, it's coming all out. But cooking, let's talk about that.
Yes, and you know, it has to do with the intensity of the defect. If the defect is, let's say, 0.8 or 1, it's okay. But if it's close to 3, it's 3.5.
If the defect is very strong, it's a problem.
The type of the defect, of course, yes.
Let me add, and thank you for addressing that, Anita. The type of the defect has a different effect on the final taste of the food. It's much different if you have a rancid defect, which is rather common, than a strong, let's say, winery or fasty that destroys totally the plate. The same happens with the salads.
Yes, I totally agree, yeah.
Let me answer something about cooking with virgin olive oil or extra virgin olive oil. You can cook with virgin olive oil, and it's very good. Of course, not pomace, right? And whenever they ask me if I can cook with that, I said yes. Replace butter, replace seed oils, and that's what I like, okay? And actually, it's very good. And then you finish with extra virgin olive oil. No question. Tell them, please, no butter.
No, I think that we talk about butter like it is the biggest enemy of our health. And I'm not sure that that's the case, because first of all, yes, I'm a chef and I'm very interested in the flavor. So butter is something that we love in kitchens. A culinary tradition of centuries, like the French one, people were not crazy. It was not just a lack of olive oil. They use till today butter because it's something with a very strong and beautiful flavor. So for me, if we go to that path and say no butter, it's a mistake.
Of course not. When you talk about the Mediterranean diet, you talk only about olive oil, no butter.
No, I don't agree. I am from a village and we
had...
but
I have like millions of people.
No, that's not the case, because we had animals in our countryside. We have animals. And we take the butter out of the milk and we make butter in order to use it. This is a part of Mediterranean diet too. But we use a small quantity of it. That's the difference. Butter? I cannot hear, sorry.
We need to get to our lentils, by the way.
Sorry.
The butter that we buy in the supermarkets today, okay?
Please, can you... Closer to your mouth, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah. The butter that we buy in the supermarkets today, okay, they all come from either cows that, you know, they have so many diseases, or the sheep and everything. The one you talk about is the ones that you have in the village. That butter in the village is very good. Of course, I agree with that. But the one that you buy in the supermarket, I don't know.
Well, I'm
skeptic.
Yeah, I'm not here to judge the quality of the butters that are in the supermarket, because I can easily do the same about the olive oils, the extra virgin olive oils that are in the supermarket, in plastic bottles, suffering from heat, and yeah. So,
of course,
we are always talking about the good quality of things. So I don't want to make it
if you tell me a place that I can buy them, you know, out there, and except villages.
Yeah, okay. You can find organic butter in a supermarket, believe me.
All right. But let's talk about olive oil.
Okay. Yeah, we got to stop talking about butter.
Let's continue.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the lentils. We're running out of time.
Which variety do you think that it's used in the lentils cooking? butter, yeah. It's really buttery, yeah?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Hopi Blanca.
Alexandra, do you remember?
You're the cook.
It is a test, yeah. For all of us, from what it seems to be. Yes. Yeah. But do you?
No, we were on our second bottle of wine by then.
So, from the last two Spanish oils that you tasted, one was generally stronger or not? So, what would you think that the chef should do? Put the strong olive oil in the lentils or over the eggs? Eggs. Eggs. So now you know the variety that I used. Good. Because I want to say that it's interesting to understand the olive oil in order to use it on a food. Huh? So, I think that the same thing is happening with the lentils too. You have a better flavor that lasts more in the mouth and much more tasty. We can proceed to the eggs now.
So that was the arbequina on the lentils. Okay. Yes. I was going to say that.
Yeah?
I was going to say arbequina.
I was sure.
Okay, okay.
That's why I asked. But especially in this soup, it's unbelievable the difference with the olive oil or without. Even if it's not bad without any oil, because the legumes have something that it's tasty. But with the olive oil, it's unbelievable. The difference is huge. And I'm talking not about huge quantities in there. I put, let's say, for all the portions that we have here, maybe 250 ml for the total quantity that we have here. So it's not a huge quantity of olive oil. I could put more, yeah, definitely.
So I was going to become a monk, but I changed my mind.
What?
I was going to become a monk, but I think I changed my mind.
And now we finish with, we also need to see what happens putting some of the olive oil on the two preparations, eh? Because there, sometimes, you know, people add acidity, some vinegar on the lentils after they are cooked. And if you put the fresh olive oil on it, you don't need anything else. It's like you have an explosion of flavor after putting the fresh on the cooked with the olive oil. But also the same thing happens even if you put it on the other soup that is cooked with nothing more than onion and some garlic and bay leaf.
And one of the things that we have to point out is that the food, we could not keep food hot, really hot. So you had kind of warmish food. The impact of any finishing oil on a hot food is enormous because it releases all those volatiles that we're working so hard to get out, and you just get this amazing aroma that rises off of the food, and it really enhances it.
And I think most of you have a better quantity, a bigger quantity of something, so that would be easy to taste some of the olives to other things like Alexandra suggested. And now we can go to the egg. So it's easy also, I think, to understand which egg is with the oil and which one is without. Actually, egg has some fat from itself. So you still have a good flavor without adding the olive oil, but it's transforming to something different, even cooked or adding on the top. So why? Because now we have to talk a little bit theoretically about that. Why are we doing all this? because the thing is that we want to make people to understand how important it is, not only from the perspective of health, but from the perspective of flavor and enjoyment, to cook with the olive oil. It's not just adding it as a medicine stuff on the plates. It is something that it is a part of our culture, Mediterranean cooking. It is in our plates all the time because it is very, very tasty. It makes a huge difference from the perspective of the taste. So that's why we do that. And we don't want people to feel that they need to be experts in order to walk on that path. Because we are talking about perfection. And perfection sometimes is something that only people that are professional tasters can see in olive oil. And right now, I don't want to scare people or my customers, my clients in my restaurant, make them feel that they don't know about it. They don't understand about it because it's something like some people only have the privilege to see it and understand it. No, we can all understand, we can all do it very easily. From a fried egg to some greens to some soup with lentils or with some potato puree. That's why we are doing all this today. And I think that a lot of you here are olive oil experts. And this is a good way to get people into that path in order to start using cooking with this green treasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finished.
So that was an absolutely perfect wrap-up there, because this exercise really is about approachability. It's about, there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer, just start trying it. And anyone who's involved in the world of food service, restaurant owners who might consider offering a flight of really nice oils and then food to go with them. And people can start to experience what an incredible difference there is between these different oils. That's an eye-opener. And I do this a lot in the United States. And of course, we are novice consumers. We are olive oil babies. And people, the light bulbs, just, you can see them going on over the heads. So, but even a sophisticated olive oil country, you always learn more and always taste more and enjoy it. So with that, we're out of time, and thank you for sticking around. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Maria. And especially thank you for all your time in the kitchen, as well as talking us through it, Manolis.